Hello everyone, Jolene here from Bookworm Adventure Girl. I hope that you are all well. This is where I talk about the books that I'm reading. I like to read diverse books and I highlight Canadian literature. If you are new, thank you so much for checking out my channel. Please hit subscribe and stick around. It would be great to have you here. Today I am going to be talking about books, obviously, but these are the highest rated Canadian books on my TBR, according to Goodreads. I recently talked about the highest rated Canadian books that I've read, according to Goodreads. I will link that below. There were some really interesting observations from that list, but I will leave that video linked below along with the other ones that I've done. I've done a few videos like this where I look at my Goodreads lists and I do some comparisons, or I am reminded of the many books that I still need to get to. So for these books to make it to the list, I only included them if they have at least 1,000 ratings, because the averages can be skewed if it only has a few ratings, which there's a lot of books on there that, 20 ratings, those kind of things. So I am going to do a countdown of the top 10 Canadian books on my TBR, according to Goodreads. Now to clarify what I mean by a TBR here, it has to be books on my physical TBR, so my physical shelves, not just books like on my radar or on my wish list, with the exception of one. And I will explain that when we get to that one. So let's get started at number 10 with Starlight by Richard Wagamese. This has 4,088 ratings and an average of 4.25 stars. This was Richard Wagamese's final novel that was unfinished when he died in 2017. It is about Frank Starlight, who lives a fairly quiet life until he takes in a woman on the run from her ex-husband. She's trying to get away. So I will eventually read all of Richard Wagamese's books because, as you know, he is one of my all-time favorites. So this is very high, actually, on my radar. At number 9 is Suzanne by Anais Barbeau-Lavalette, and this is translated from the French by Rhonda Mullins. This has 10,246 ratings and an average of 4.27. So this book became very popular when it was on Canada Reads in 2019, and I have been wanting to read it since then. It's taking me a while. I've heard great things about it. I have now read another book by this author, and I've heard that this is even better. So I'm looking forward to it eventually getting there. Number 8, I only grabbed a few of these. So number 8 is Trickster Drift by Eden Robinson. This has 4,858 ratings and a 4.28 average rating. This is the second book in the Trickster series. I have read the first book in the trilogy, but this one has even higher ratings, which it's interesting to me because, as some of you know, I struggle with series sometimes, and the further along they go, especially. But if this one gets better, which according to the ratings they do, then I'm here for it. At number 7 is, I have this one, 3 Day Road by Joseph Boyden, with 25,554 ratings and an average rating of 4.28. This is the first book in the Bird family trilogy. Again, this is kind of cool, but I've actually read the second book in the trilogy, which was fantastic, and it was for book club. And I think you can read these in any order because they follow the same family and characters. They have interconnected characters. So this book takes place after World War I. Niska is the last OG Cree woman to live off the land, and she receives word that Xavier Bird has returned from war. So it's a 3-day journey to bring Xavier home. And during the journey, we see how Niska's life and Xavier's life are connected. So I'm really interested in this because the journey that Niska takes goes through Northern Ontario. And Xavier's experiences in the war include the Somme, which is where my great-grandfather fought during World War I. So there's some connections to this story for me too, which is kind of neat. Okay, and number 6 is Glory Over Everything Beyond the Kitchen House by Kathleen Grissom. This has 44,031 ratings and a 4.31 average rating. This is the sequel to The Kitchen House, which I absolutely loved. This takes place in 1830, and it follows Jamie Pike, who is passing as a wealthy white aristocrat in Philadelphian society, where, like, in reality, he is a runaway slave and a son of a southern black slave and her master. So if this is even close to as good as The Kitchen House, I know that I'm going to love it. Again, I can't believe it's taken me this long to even get to it. At number 5 is The Collected Essex County by Jeff Lemire. Yes, I know that this is a graphic novel, which you don't often see on my channel. This has 12,800 ratings and a 4.32 average rating. This was part of the Canada Reads debates way back in 2011, and I've heard really, really good things about it. What actually draws me to this book is that I know Essex County. I have family in that area, and I'm hoping that when I do get to this book, that I will really, really like it. Okay, at number 4 is The Good Women of Safe Harbour. This is by Bobbi French, and this has 3,018 ratings and a 4.37 average rating. So this is a novel about Frances Malone and her friend Annie. Annie betrayed Frances, and Frances is now reminiscing about her life years later. And now, before her life is over, she wants to make amends with Annie. So you all know I love a book about friendship. And this just might be a good one, I think, to kind of get the friendship vibes. Number 3 is The Chimps of Fauna Sanctuary by Andrew Westoll. This has 1,074 ratings and a 4.38 average rating. This book's title has always intrigued me, but this is a nonfiction book about Gloria Grow and the rehabilitation center that she runs for chimpanzees. So the chimpanzees have either been rescued from zoos or testing labs. The author, Andrew Westoll, worked at the sanctuary for a summer. And I have heard really, really good things about this book. And it's one that I might read for Nonfiction November this year. So it's on my radar for that. At number 2 is another nonfiction book by Chance Alone by Max Eisen. This has 5,131 ratings and a 4.56 average rating. So this is Max Eisen's story about how he survived the camps at Auschwitz. And Max was 15 years old when he went to Auschwitz, and after he was injured by a guard, the doctor who did the operation on him saved him from the gas chambers, basically by giving him a job cleaning the operating room. So Max immigrated to Canada in 1949, and this book won Canada Reads in, I think, did I write it down? No, I did not. I think 2019. So I had hoped to read the book then. It's been on my shelf since then, but here it still sits. So Max Eisen died in 2022, but this is another book that is on my radar for Nonfiction November. And then the final book, So as I mentioned, all of the books on the list, have to be on my physical shelves or in boxes still, because as you know, I'm still unpacking. And that is true for all of them except this one, number 1. However, I'm including it because I do have it digitally and I would have it physically if it were out in paperback. I would have bought this the second it came out, but it's only available in hardcover right now because it was just published in, I didn't write that down either, I think in February. So this is a book that I will read soon, and it's the number 1 highest rated Canadian books on my TBR, according to Goodreads, and it is One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This, and this is by Omar Akkad. This has 11,904 ratings already. It was published in February, and a 4.66 average rating. So this was still is really one of my most anticipated books to be published this year. The title of the book comes from a tweet that the author posted a few weeks after the war started in Gaza. So I am hoping to learn something from this book. It has very high ratings, but I've also read some of the comments and heard some comments from people who have people who have given it 1 or 2 stars. And so I think that this, it also talks mostly about the US, not necessarily Canada. The author is Egyptian Canadian living in the US. So I think he brings a different perspective, and several perspectives, I guess, to the table. So it's definitely one I want to read. So these are the 10 highest rated Canadian books on my TBR, according to Goodreads. This list looks a little different than the other list, the books that I read. The authors are, I think, a bit more diverse than what turned out to be in the other one. I was kind of surprised. There's less nonfiction in this one, but they are all books that are high on my to-read list. So if you have read any of these, please let me know, your thoughts, your opinions. Let me know if you think that there's a book I should start with, if there's any that I should prioritize. Hopefully I will get to at least some of these before the end of the year. That would kind of be my goal. So I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to make every day an adventure.